So the other day we were chatting. I was chatting. I was waxing lyrical about the beneficences of the new Land Rover Defender, and I came out here to take a photograph for my mum of the colours of the trees. It's very pretty, and we've got lots of fall colours here, and we don't have many trees in Lethbridge because it's all prairie. But what we do have is some in the river bottom, and it's very pretty. So I came out on this gravel road just outside the city to take a photograph. It's I'll show you a photograph in a second. We'll cut to it if I can figure out how to do that. And so I just pulled off at the side of the road. There's a bit of a trail at the side of the road, and I just pulled off to have a look, park up and take some photographs. And so what's happened is that I've followed down the track and then followed out of the track, and thought to myself, well, that's interesting because it seems like I'm going in the air. And so what I did was I got out and had a look, and I'm going to show you in a second the difference. So I was waxing lyrical about the difference between the old Defender and the new Defender. And one of the things I said about the new Defender, apart from the fact that again I'm travelling at 40 kilometres an hour on a gravel road, is that you can hear me, and it's nice and comfortable, and it's quiet, and the things aren't rattling, and my brain isn't dribbling at me. It's all that kind of stuff. And I said one of the things that is interesting about the Land Rover Defender is that it does everything effortlessly. I think that's right. And that what you do, and when you do need the off-road capabilities, the Land Rover just sort of does, really, in a way that you would be sort of maybe a little scrambling, perhaps. Not that the old Land Rover Defender couldn't do. I'm not saying that at all. We all know that the old Land Rover Defender's off-road capabilities were outstanding. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that things just do, the new Defender just does things more seamlessly and more effortlessly. So what I've done is I've come over to this gravel road where I went this morning. I'm going to take this little short video. I'm going to show you, because I went down this little gravel track to park up, take some photographs, and then came back up. Just told you that. Came back up, and I thought, well, that's interesting. It looks like there's a wheel in the air. And there was. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera around, and I'm going to show you what it's like, and you can sort of see for yourself how that experience is. I've done this kind of stuff before in a Defender. It's not that they can't do it, but it would scrabble a bit more. So let me turn the camera around, and then I'll do the bit of a thing, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So here we are on the trail. This is the gravel track. You can see the coulee there in the right hand side, or at least I'm hoping you can. It's a bit bouncy, I apologise for that. It is a gravel road, and what more can you do? So the gravel track that I'm going to do is just a little parking spot down here next to these electrical pylons, or whatever you want to call it. So I'm just going to go down here. I'm not in any off-road mode or anything. This is just a standard sort of drive. I'm just going to pull into this bit of a. We've had a bit of precipitation here, or they've watered this gravel road to make it stop dusting, and so you can probably see I'm just going. It's not a big drop. It's only sort of I don't know, 8 or 10 degree drop. I'm going to follow this track, which is nothing particularly serious as you could do to the car, really, I guess. And what we're going to do is I've parked up here to take the photographs. You could probably just see when we come around this corner. I parked up here because this sort of a delta area up there has a lot of. I'll see if I can zoom in, see if you can see, because it is very pretty. So I'll just swing around here like this and see if I can. Can I zoom in? How do I do that? I shall stop the car first. There we go. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? It's lovely, isn't it? That's all the trees in the delta and the river bottom. Anyway, but it's very nice. So that has got nothing to do with what I'm talking about, but that's what I sent a photograph to my mum. Mum likes things like that. Anyway, so you can see before me here, just in a second, you'll see the bank that I drove up, and it's not terribly. I mean, it isn't terribly steep. But as you get nearer, you can see it's a little bit of an angle, and it's a funny sort of an angle because it's up and it's twisted to the right hand side's up and the left hand side's down, and and away you go. And so this is just a standard mode, and I'm only tootling along. I'm only doing, I don't know, well, I'm not even doing a mile an hour, but you can see here I'm at 24 degrees now inclination according to the thing, and I'm just scrolling up. There's no scrambling, steady away, no juddering. Now, did you see that? That was my wheel in the air, and that was me dropping back onto the ground. And this is what makes it different than most other Defenders, is that it does that without having to put the difflock in, without having to think about where you're at, without having to sort of anticipate some wheel spin, without sort of, you've picked a wheel up. It's likely that the back one came up when the front one dropped down, I am guessing, I don't know. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to I can't drive it, can I? But what I am going to do is I'm going to just go round again, and I'm going to stop with the wheel in the air to show you just exactly how sort of severe, because you can never tell from videos or photographs, can you? I'm going to show you how severe, and it's not severe, I don't suppose that's the right word, is it? But how much of the wheel was in the air, and how effortlessly and how controlled I was able to make that climb, where on the other Defender I could guarantee that what would happen is that you'd have a bit of wheel spin. If you were going slowly enough that you didn't really want to give your Defender too much grief, you'd sort of just spin out a little bit, and then the difflock would need to do the thing, and away you go. And of course, all I mean, there might be some of the solid axle groupies out there, so you wouldn't have that with the axle articulation of the Defender. Yes, you would, because they've got anti-roll bars, and you might not get that from a 1980 or 1982 Range Rover Classic with no sort of control bars or sway bars or whatever, but or even an 8079 or something like that. But with your new Defenders, or even a reasonably recent Defender that's worth its salt on the road, you'd have had sway bars and all sorts of stuff that would have sort of stopped that from working. I'm just going to go back up here again. I'm going to try and get out. And so your fluid axle articulation wouldn't have done what you thought. I'm just going steady here, not because it's bothering me, but just because I'm trying to get a wheel in the air and stop with it in the air, if that makes sense. Oh, are we there? I'm hoping we're there. That seems about it. So I'm just there's going to be a bit juddery, and I apologise for that, because we're going to take you off the mount. So here we are, we're at 20 degrees here and 8 degrees inclination. I'm just going to open the door. Ooh. It is more steep than it looks, look. Ooh. Now, I'm not in any off-road height. This is just standard height. There's nothing particularly, I wasn't expecting it to be problematic. So standard height, and if we wander around, I'll just go back a bit here. Look at the pretty view again there, isn't it grand, that? And you can see now, it's not at a terrible angle sort of that way. And there's the lamp, there's the telegraph post to show that I'm not twisting the camera like that and making it look worse. But if we go around here, you'll see I have successfully not stopped far enough up. Oh, 30 you muppet. Okay, let's go and have another go. See, I knew I was going to have to stop somewhere, but I stopped too early, didn't I? Okay. Now the door's not closed, so it won't set off. Let's go a bit further. Get that wheel up in the air. There we are. That's definitely got it now. Right. Just to show you, we're still at 20 degrees, maybe 9 degrees now on the other thing. We'll open the door again and hop out. Oop. Right. I'll wander up here and show you what's going on here. You see, what he's done is it's picked a foot up. This is just standard, and he's got the foot up in the air. Now, I know you're going to say that, like I've said earlier on, the axle articulation of the other Defender would probably have resolved that, but the reality is that it may or may not have done. I wouldn't have expected it would. The longer wheelbase has obviously got something to do with it here. I'm just going to back up a bit. So you can see that the longer wheelbase is probably causing this issue a bit. Now, I don't know that you'd have had that much issue in the Range Rover Classic, with shorter wheelbase and so on and so forth, but it still picked a wheel up, and I have a feeling that a 110 would have picked a wheel up and spun out of it. Now, I'm going to go back in here. You can see, just put it that way so you can see we're level here. and you can see that there's a bit of an angle, 20-degree angle there, isn't there? Wipe my boots off, because even though he's got a rubber mat, I'm going to wipe my boots off because I don't want to make it too messy now. Right, climb back aboard. I do like the rubber mats, by the way. That's another story. They've got clips here. You press stud in, and they make a carpet that does the same sort of fitment as well. You clip that in too. I'm going to just put you up in the window, and then I'll get back in because it's easier to pull myself in with the handles when I don't have a camera in my hand. Right, there you are now. Here we are. 3,051 feet, 19 degrees inclination. I'll just straighten the camera up. 19 degrees inclination, stopped, park brake on obviously. I'm just going to put it into drive, and there's going to be no scrabble, none of that traction control nonsense. It just goes like that, badunk, and there we are.